Bom, vamos lá então. Lagosta gigante. Tá no máximo aqui já? Pronto, vamos lá. Esse episódio foi pesadíssimo.
I taste like 4 different animals: chicken, pork, fish, frog.
Sabe,
In that order.
Now, we're headed across this giant continent to the island of Tasmania. This island state has a population of only 500,000, but it bosts some of the most impressive edible wildlife anywhere. On land,
possum is a very dense meat, so it does need a nice, long, slow braise.
Better than pulled pork.
and in the sea.
Nothing better than just eating something that you've caught.
Today, we're on a mission to explore what creatures lurk in the pristine waters that surround this island. From marine life caught by hand.
It's one of the best meat textures.
Que é aquilo ali? Que é aquilo? Aquilo ali eu não sei o que.
Out there.
To a large-scale seafood factory, processing thousands of pounds of ocean meat per month.
How popular is eating shark in Australia?
This succulent seafood lover's dream begins right here on the coast.
Não é por nada não, tá? Mas tem uns pratos ali que parece muito bom. Parece muito bonito. Vai lá, vai lá. Não, fique em paz. Muito agradecido aí. Não, pode pôr lá enquanto você cozinha. Aí a gente aceita. Põe lá pra você. Não precisa ficar falando, mas só assiste lá.
Gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
We have an absolute treat for you guys. We have been out on a hunt, a couple of days out at sea, about 50 kilometers offshore at one point, and we have gathered some fantastic Tassie treats for you.
This is Tim. He works as a director of photography, and Chris here is a retired veteran. They each have their own YouTube channels, where they showcase a passion for diving and thrilling adventures around the island of Tasmania.
A ilha... A Austrália é aquele lugar que tem uns bagulho muito louco, né? Tipo, uns negócios gigantescos, brutal, né? Não me surpreende, ainda mais na ilha da Tasmania.
Pretty much, we were both diving on a compressor, which is a hose running to us underwater so we can take our time down there.
Yeah, you've got to use your hands down here. We can't use any utensils, no spears, nothing like that. So it's purely just with mitts.
How many creatures are in both of these eskies right now?
We've got 3 unshucked abalone in here and about 4 shucked abalone.
We'd have 8 odd crayfish in here. Dare I say it's the biggest crayfish or lobster that you've shown on your show so far.
Gentlemen, I think it's time for some show and tell.
Let's get into it. Okay.
Vamos. Porque, tipo assim, eles pescaram tudo pra depois mostrar.
Our first catch is a worldwide luxury product, and the best of its kind can be found in the coastal waters of Tasmania. This is the black lip abalone. These sea critters are masters of disguise, blending in with ordinary rocks. But once you spot one, all it takes is a flick of the knife to pop it off.
Isso. Abalone não era um peixe? Fiquei em dúvida agora. Abalone não é um peixe?
Dude, that is...
Hã? Então, mas ele chamou isso de abalone?
Huge ass abalone.
Ou...
Soon, we'll get a taste of this opulent delicacy.
Pound for pound, the abalone is one of the best meat textures out there. It's so dense, it's like a goat heart. That's a pretty good catch.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's close it up.
A tradução feia
I'm so excited for this one.
Tim?
Alrighty, well, this is a full day on the water. I really hope you enjoy the size of these ones, and they are just so beautiful. We love these creatures down here.
You've hyped this up quite a bit.
Now, we set our sights on the grand prize, the infamous Tasmanian rock lobster. As Tim and Chris dive deeper, the temperature plummets and sunlight fades. Our target is a hide-and-seek master, using the rugged landscape to stay out of sight. Once spotted, the real challenge is actually catching them. Without...
Que é isso aqui? Mano, olha o tamanho da criança, eu não tinha visto.
hesitation, you must zero in, make your move, and grab it.
Se você errar o bote pra pegar, já era, hein? Pegou, pegou. Olha o tamanho da criança.
What? That's about a 3.5 kilo crate.
Dude, that is crazy.
Mano,
That's easily the biggest crayfish I've ever seen.
With a seriously tough shell and the ability to regenerate lost legs, this creature is not just a feast for the eyes, but a delicious conquest for those who dare to pluck it from the salty depths.
Wow, gentlemen, you've outdone yourselves. This is fantastic. I cannot wait to see what kind of delicious food this could be made into.
Na Austrália tá me deixando mal. Tá ligado? Tá me deixando muito mal. No último.
So the first thing I'm going to do is shuck this. You just use a butter knife.
Tem que descolar, óbvio,
Put your thumb in
sempre.
there. and open it up like that. And you're left with this beautiful shell. So now I'm just going to rip these guts off. And then I'm just cutting the mouth of this abalone. So the reason we cut the mouth out is these are a filter-eating mussel. So we want to get rid of all the bad stuff. We're left with this mussel here. If we just cook these like this, it's going to be really rubbery and not the greatest texture.
Give it a nice
good bash, and then you can see how much softer it is. A lot easier to eat. Comes up much better for us.
The pragmatically tenderized abalone gets a thorough wash with seawater. Then it's coated with a mixture of breadcrumbs, herbs, salt, and pepper.
So I like to keep it easy. Don't worry about your milk and eggs. Chuck it all in a sandwich bag and give it a good shake.
Now it's time to give these snails
a
sizzle.
bife empanado, só que de abalone.
Once fried to a crunch, the abalone meat is cut into bite-sized pieces and served with fresh citrus,
Vou ser sincero com você, tá? Não
special
sei
sauce,
se...
consisting of soy sauce with
Não sei se seria, tipo, o meu prato favorito até agora. Comeria pra poder experimentar.
wasabi and minced garlic.
Gostei disso. Isso tem uma cara muito boa.
Lots of people struggle cooking abalone, but this way, you just can't go wrong.
Cheers. That's a steak of the sea, really, isn't it?
Parece torresminho, não parece?
The tenderizing method actually works quite effectively. Now, I do appreciate the dense texture of abalone, but this is nice too. It's just a different take that I've never experienced. It falls apart in your mouth a little bit more. Where'd you pick up this recipe?
So I actually created this just by being lazy. Yeah, it's one of my favourite ways of doing it. Nice and easy. You know, if you sort of wrap it in the lettuce.
É interessante.
Give it a bit of a dip.
Isso é meio asiático, tá? Esse jeito de preparar, tipo, meio assim, é asiático. É, tipo um churrasco coreano. Coreano que tem mania de colocar na folha, assim, dobrar, mergulhar no molhinho.
How many people live here?
Oh, I think about 500,000 on the whole island.
I mean, that's not many people. How far is it from mainland Australia?
A ilha é grande.
40 kilometers south.
And to get off the island, you basically have to fly,
Que ilhazinha gostosa,
right? That's an option too. So that makes this island really unique because even though it's part of Australia, it's not that close to the mainland, and so over time it's going to develop maybe a little bit of its own culture. How would you say Tasmania is different from mainland Australia?
The beautiful thing about Tasmania is that there are so many untouched gems here.
Tasmania, unlike mainland Australia, offers a journey back in time with its untouched wilderness and dramatic landscapes. It's a realm of rugged cliffs, dense rainforests, and relentless southern ocean waves, standing in stark contrast to the more familiar scenes of the Australian outback.
The whole uncharted, untouched, that's a big thing for me. So yeah, it's a really good place to sort of grow up and spend your years, I reckon.
We have one more course remaining.
Fresh.
Tocado ali, eu falei assim, vai, vocês estão ensinando pro jogo.
Lobsters this size are a bounty of sweet, rich meat. Today's recipe requires some thick, meaty tails.
Nossa! Mano, olha o quanta carne tem nisso. Meu pai, coloca isso numa grelha, joga um salzinho, uma pimentinha do reino e um limãozinho por cima, ó, abraço, pai. Exatamente assim, ó.
Alrighty, what we're going to do here is cook these tails for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's such a beautiful white sweet meat and it's unlike anything else from the ocean. Straight on the barbecue.
Não, isso aí é... Mano, isso é muita coisa, é muita carne.
Now we're just going to start slow cooking them through the pan with a little bit of garlic butter. We've also got some of these trailers. These big fighting claws are going to be fantastic.
Cadê manteiga de alho? Nossa, pai. Olha isso!
Now for the build. Smear on cream cheese and make a bed of chopped lettuce on which the lobster meat can rest.
Não tem erro, tá?
It's resting on
Não
a bed.
tem erro.
Oh, fucking clever.
Os caras é muito Masterchef, tá ligado? É muito Masterchef. Olha isso!
Finally drizzle some tangy sauce.
Desculpa. Mas quem que é? Tipo assim, que pessoa que não é cozinheiro que olha assim, tipo assim, aqui tá o prato de comida. Ele fica assim, ó. Que pessoa em sã consciência faz isso? Só Masterchef, só chefe de cozinha que faz isso.
This looks gorgeous. What makes it Tasmanian?
Comeria dois
I
nesse.
made it.
Dois.
I'm Tasmanian.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
That is so good.
The bread is perfect. There's a crisp of the lettuce, then the tang of the mayonnaise inside, but man, just tons and tons of delicious lobster.
That is some of the sweetest lobster I've ever had.
It's a really good way of cooking it like that. Easy as, just chuck it on the coals and can't go wrong.
Oh, I love how smoky it is.
Feels really good.
Just a great, delicious, creative use of these local ingredients that you guys fought hard for. Do you feel the reward? I feel the reward and I didn't do anything.
Nothing better than just eating something that you've taught.
Yeah, I think it takes you back to that primal instinct of us. You know, I believe we're all animals in some way. So, you know, go catch your own food and then eat it like this. It's just perfect, isn't it?
And we've still got the legs to get into it.
Esse aí eu aprendi a comer.
There you go.
Não era assim.
That is wild. This is what you don't find on
Olha o tarugo.
menu lobsters.
So this is an example of getting it in one piece.
De
So it comes out like that.
Just go straight up.
Straight down the gob.
Oh my God.
So sweet, succulent, delicious.
Still juicy.
A little bit smoky.
Joga um limãozinho.
I'm so curious, can anybody catch what you're catching here? How does that work?
You need a license to be able to fend for yourself with these guys.
Tasmania's flourishing seafood scene is attributed not only to its lively ecosystem, but also to the community's conservation efforts. For example, Tim and Chris are only allowed to catch 2 lobsters and 10 abalone in one outing.
Back in the day, like my grandfather, he'll tell you stories about him just out the front here when there was abundance more of these creatures.
So the numbers have decreased that much.
It has decreased, but over the last couple of years, conservation has kicked in and the populations are coming back quite strong.
Both of you have channels that are focused on Australian outdoors, on catching seafood, on wildlife. For each of you, what is the goal with your channel and what kind of message do you hope to get to your audience?
My channel is called Tascast. I teach people how to catch the fish that I catch
Tem como
and to remind
esconder,
people of
senão
conservation
menino
on
no
those fish
fiozinho.
at the same time to make sure that we can fish into the future.
My social media
perdendo
channel,
tudo,
Tassie
gente.
Adventure Man, and I predominantly do a lot of outdoor.
Ah, ele tá mostrando os canais
adventures.
dele
So a
e tudo
big
mais.
part of my life and
Eles
my social
mergulhando.
media
Bacana.
is PTSD.
É bem legal,
anxiety,
viu? O
mental
canal
health.
dele. Aí,
So I think
gente,
it's
se vocês
really
quiserem, ó, o
important
canal
for
dele
people
está
to
aqui
see that
embaixo.
if you
Se
are
vocês quiserem
having
seguir.
some of these illnesses, then you can still have a good life. Yeah, I'm just an everyday bloke, so do what I do and you'll enjoy it.
The best thing as well about everything that we do is it gets you out in nature, and to me, I'm the best possible version of myself when I'm on my boat fishing with a rod in my hand.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Olha
This
que
has
lindo.
been incredible. It was good to get a little taste, and we
Olha.
got actually a lot more than just a little
Então,
taste.
isso parece
And then
um
from here,
torresminho,
we're
sabe?
gonna bake.
Torresminho, você toma com uma caipirinha.
We're embarking on a 3-hour drive across the island to its capital,
Agora
Hobart.
saíram de
Here we'll
Lowhead
tour a
para-
family-owned
Isso é o nome
seafood
da cidade.
factory where they do
Hobart.
it all, from catching and processing to distributing to restaurants.
Olha isso,
We're
cara.
here to
O
indulge
negócio é
in
mais
some
granfino.
unexpected local favorites
tá
like
bonito.
shark meat.
Oh gosh, that looks lovely.
Não,
But
hoje é
first,
pra
a
passar
quick
fome.
tour.
Hoje é pra gente ficar forte.
essentially what we do.
Our guide,
Tá só na
Jock Muir,
vontade.
3rd generation of Muir's fishing.
We fish probably pretty similarly
Ah,
to
limpa
how
o
you would have
peixe.
been down on the beach. We use hooks, but instead of one hook on a rod,
Tá muito
we use
fácil,
auto
né?
long line.
Dois
Set
cortando os
500
pedaços,
meters
ó.
deep, and we catch
Chapau.
fish like lure trevella.
Why hook the fish and not throw gigantic nets?
For us, it's all about quality. Hook caught fish, you're not getting that pressure on the fish. In a big net, if you're catching a ton of fish, you've got a ton
Que
of pressure pushing
peixe
down
é
on
esse,
each
moço?
fish.
Ruins the flesh.
And do you ever have other countries intruding on your territory? New Zealand, Japan. Do you have cannons on your boats?
No, not quite that bad. It's all friendly.
For now. We're excited to see the rest of the factory and everything that happens here. I guess we could start with this. What is this station all about?
This is our main processing floor, so some of our team
Ah lá,
started
onde
at
eles
11:30 last
cortam
night,
todos
and they'll
os
work
peixes,
through to
todos os
about
tipos de
midday.
peixe.
Easter week this week, big week
O
for
legal
us.
lá é que
Remember
tipo,
those
você
giant lobsters from this
consegue
morning? Well, Jock has a
pegar
literal
vários tipos
boatload
de
of
peixe,
them
né?
right here.
First of all, how big is your biggest lobster?
We'd have a few, about 3 kilo fish.
3
We
quilos.
got a
Olha
nice big
isso.
one there.
To fill this gigantic tank, Jack orders lobsters from contractors all around Tasmania. Instead of catching them by hand, they trap the spiny crustaceans with baited cages.
Prey pots is what we call it. South coast of Tassie, west coast of
Inteligente.
Tassie,
É mais
east coast,
fácil
you
que
can
pegar na
catch
mão.
crayfish all around Tassie.
The one in your hand right now, if you had to guess about how much would that cost?
In a fancy restaurant, you'd probably be paying $600, I reckon.
It's a lot of money for a meal, and I guess it's just so much work to get these, right?
The demand for them can go through the
Cara,
roof,
ele é
and that's
bonito
what
e
drives
feio
the
ao
price
mesmo
up
tempo,
really
né? Não
high.
tem jeito.
Fantastic. All right, let's keep moving. I want to see what else you got.
Not a problem.
Fish and chips is typically made from cod or haddock, but Australia is not a typical place. And in just moments, we'll be trying fish and chips shark style.
So this is a mako shark, probably 70 kilos,
Peixe
I
com
reckon,
batata
building
frita eu
gutters.
comi.
Mako shark
Eu
is a
jurava que
lightning
ia ser tão
fast predator
estranho, mas
high
não é,
up
não
on
é
the food chain,
gostoso.
capable of
Comer
reaching
peixinho
speeds
com
up to
batata frita é
45
bom.
miles per hour.
How popular is eating shark in Australia?
They aggressively feed on a variety of marine species, including other sharks.
Fish and chips, everyone wants flake, and for most Australians, flake means shark. Gummy shark, school shark are very popular. Mako shark's up there as well.
Any market for this right here?
Lots of Asian markets love the fins. We don't do much of it ourselves here in Tassie, but we do send a bit over to the Melbourne markets.
Are you targeting to fish these, or is it considered bycatch?
This is a bycatch for us, so a lot of our bycatch non-targeted fish is still really good usable product.
Mano, é grandão, tá? É pequeno,
Before
não
we
é
dive
grandão.
first into our
Ah, as
impending
ostras
seafood feast,
básicas
how about
pra
a
venda.
tantalizing teaser? Welcome to the
Oyster rope.
Mixed prison.
This is the Tasmanian Pacific oyster. These oysters, nurtured in the
Joga
cool and
limãozinho,
nutrient-rich
pai.
southern and
Abraço.
eastern coastlines, are a sought-after
Pá,
delicacy
deve ser cocô.
worldwide.
How many are you shucking a day?
200 to 300 dozen.
300
Nossa
dozen.
senhora!
5 million? What is the secret to effectively shucking an oyster?
Every oyster's got
gentileza.
a muscle at about 3 o'clock. So I go in now, turn my knife up to cut the muscle off the top lid, and then you scrape down to detach it from
Eu
the
não sei
bottom
abrir uma
cell,
ostra, você tem
flip
que
it
entregar
over
uma
and turn
ostra
it,
assim,
so
eu não sei
it's ready
abrir.
to eat straight
E
out
eu
of
vou
the
continuar
shell.
sem entender,
And
porque
you're
eu não
doing
faço a menor
that
ideia.
once every 6 seconds.
This guy's a machine. That's really good.
It has a
Olha que
natural
linda.
sweetness and a natural saltiness to it, and it's a nice size. I used to think bigger was better with oysters. Incorrect.
Nossa.
Really good condition these oysters are at the moment, so they're a beautiful oyster.
Very nice. Super delicious.
The only thing better than a lobster is another lobster, though instead of grilling, this one is steamed with a fleet of his
Ai,
friends.
tadinhos.
Here, an industrial-sized vat receives a collection of lobsters that steam for about 30 minutes. Normally, after steaming, they'd be chilled and delivered to local restaurants. But for us, they're cut in half by Chef Nathan, the mastermind behind 3 of Muir's seafood restaurants. With the addition of lemon and homemade aioli, this dish is complete.
Não precisa de mais nada, né? Olha esse salmãozinho.
Gentlemen,
Papai,
this
Bom,
looks...
não precisa de mais nada, tá? Mais nada, nada. Isso aqui é um banquete. Banquete.
outstanding. The first thing I want to start with is this right here.
Go for it.
This thing is meaty.
There we go.
Wow. That is half a lobster
Olha que
tail
linda.
with a lime and coriander aioli
Isso é um
here.
molhinho de
Aioli
alho?
is like mayonnaise for
É,
rich people.
aioli.
Cheers, enjoy.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's delicious. This is so juicy, it's plump.
I wonder if it's
Eu ainda quero
because of the size.
experimentar a
Is there,
lagosta,
like an
sabe? Eu
ideal
nunca
size
comi
for a
lagosta,
lobster?
então ainda eu quero... Tá no meu...
They're all pretty good.
I think the general public
Aquilo ali é
leans
gelo?
towards the smaller size. They do say when they get older, they get a little bit more tough, but it's also it's a high cost item, so people may go for a smaller size one.
That's what I would do. I would get the smaller one and be like, well, they taste better, actually. What is the difference, would you say, between this kind of lobster and something like Alaskan lobster?
The European or the Alaskan ones are a lot more refined in their texture. They're not as densely packed in with the flavour and the muscle structure. Here. I think these ones are a bit more of a wilder, kind of stronger sea creature.
Yeah, this is very dense.
It's got a bit more bite to it.
Yeah, it's a longer chew, yeah.
Ah, então a
Course
diferença é
two,
tipo
an
mais no...
exhilarating encounter
tipo,
with the
na
Mako
questão da
shark.
mordida, sabe? Que é um pouquinho mais... É, precisa dar uma mordida um pouquinho mais forte. e tudo
Blend
mais.
plain flour, self-rising flour, dock cider, salt,
Cerveja,
pepper, tarragon,
farinha.
and fresh dill. Coat the shark fillet in plain flour, then a layer of the batter.
Eu provaria.
Immerse it in sizzling hot oil until it
Provaria,
transforms into a
provaria.
golden masterpiece with a crunchy
Não deve
batter
ser
that
ruim.
sings with
A carne
flavor.
parece
To accompany the shark,
de peixe
plants.
mesmo, normal.
I'm gonna crack a piece of this off. Oh gosh, that looks lovely. I'm always so fascinated by shark. The idea that people would even eat shark was something I didn't realize till I was maybe in my 30s. Cheers.
Você viu a crocância? Sentiu?
Wow. That's really good. It's not that flaky, much softer flesh, but the flavor is great.
You have a great crust on there, very delicate. The meat, it's almost on the side of being slightly mushy.
It sort of reminds me of the stingray we had
Ele
in
parece bem mais
WA.
porosa
mix
a
that
carne,
softer
tá vendo? ó?
texture with
Não
the
parece
outer
um pouquinho
crunch,
mais
it's a nice
porosa
combination.
do que se fosse um...
Can you tell me about this right here?
This is our
Peixe
blue-eyed
mesmo.
trevella. This is actually a modernized recipe from the Muir's family recipe.
The blue-eyed trevella is a large fish that can grow up to 3 feet in length. This
peixe
deep-sea swimmer
feio.
is cherished for its tasty flesh, and we're about to find out why.
A carne dele não parece boa pra comer, tá? meu
After the
querido?
blue-eyed trevella is filleted, it's seared, giving it a beautiful
É
crust.
bonito, é bonito. Desculpa o que eu ia falar. É bonito.
Baste it with tarragon-infused butter. Then transfer the fish to a baking tray. More
lá, vai
butter, then
finalizar
let
onde?
it finish in
Forno.
the oven.
Óbvio que queria finalizar no forno.
Time to build our plate, starting with some
Espinafre.
delightful plants.
A
A velvety
alcaparra,
lemon tarragon sauce.
molhinho feito com
and
peixe lá.
Tasmanian salmon roe. The fillet also gets a drizzle before tapping in. Finish off with olive oil and a crispy Trevella skin cracker.
Tá maluco, tá?
Oh, that's so good.
Tá maluco.
Completely different texture from the shark. It's so meaty.
Prato desse deve
big
custar uns
scallops of a flake.
$60.
Sweet flavor.
That little bit of citrus and the creamy tarragon goes well with it.
Oh yeah, this is excellent. Mix that with the cracker, mix it with some veggies. Wow.
It's really a famous table fish for Tasmania right now. It's really versatile. So you can put it in a curry, you can pan fry it or grill it or barbecue, whatever you want to do with it.
Oh, it's like the tofu of fish.
Here in Tasmania, you guys are super blessed. This is ridiculous, the amount of different kinds of seafood we've tried. What's your favorite kind of ingredient to work with?
I think the blue-eyed trevella is one of the most approachable fish. Also the lobster and abalone and things like that. We have a great variety of seafood down here that you don't get up on the east coast of Australia.
Que não me entra na cabeça, sabe? Eu não faço a menor ideia do que
Got a lot
seja,
of
nem
native
gosto.
coastal ingredients. Even on my drive to work, I'm using just some local sea asparagus that are just in the little river system, and I can see that just pick some with the scissors, and they actually go on a couple of the dishes in the restaurant as well. There's food and there's a whole food trail everywhere you go in Tasmania.
Monte de concha que tem ali.
With life, with sea creatures, there's just so much here. Yet only 500,000 people live here. Do you have any idea why that is?
As conchas, depois que eles abrem, porque metade das conchas fica ali. Eles jogam de volta no mar?
But it's beautiful, it's stunning. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And
Ou o que eles
growing up
fazem?
diving for crays and fishing with dad, and it's such a good lifestyle.
The last thing I want to know is, in spite of everything you do have here for food, are there foods that can't quite quench the palate of the people here? Are there things you have to import from other parts of Australia or other parts of the world, especially when it comes to seafood?
Prawns. Our water's too cold for a reliable prawn fishery down here, so that's a big hole we have to fill.
And definitely some vegetables. All in all, we focus more on the seasonality and the local produce
coloca
down here because there's
32
enough
quilos de
to put on
espinafre,
menus,
vira
there's
300
enough to go
gramas.
around all the supermarkets.
Yeah, I gotta say, we just came from Western Australia.
Quem
It's
colhe?
completely different. The geography, the climate, the weather was brutal, hot, humid, and the same with the types of food you're gonna find is completely different.
Estarei
Too. So
esperando
it's
o próximo
been
vídeo
refreshing to see how
da...
much diversity there is just in going to these two places in
Da
Australia. It's quite amazing. So, gentlemen,
Beautiful.
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Our pleasure.
Elevate your style
Maluco,
with our
tá?
brand new clothing collection.
Incrível.
Rock out in our threads, feel the thrill of culinary
Likezinho.
adventures.
E é isso, sem propaganda. Cadê o negócio? Vamos daqui.